Good evening, everyone. My name is Denoris Wilson, and you are now tuned into the BRI, which is the Black Research Institute, where we're here and we're committed to solving the problems. Tonight, I got a very special guest, young lady. Um, man, I don't. You know what? I, I really have no words to describe her because we was just in the in the green room when we was talking. So when after I run my intro and I come back, I'm gonna let her explain to you, what her essence really is. So stay tuned. This is gonna be a great interview, people. A great interview, and I promise you, everyone will enjoy this interview. So stay tuned. I'm gonna run my intro and we're gonna come back and we're gonna introduce tonight's guest. Okay. We're back. And like I said, tonight we have a very special guest, very energetic young lady. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you, my followers in the world, to Miss Temakha Maakheru. I messed it up, didn't
How pronounce it?
Okay.
Maakheru.
Maakheru. Okay. I'm from the South, T. So
yeah, it's a little ancient.
So how you doing?
Good. I'm fabulous. I'm peaceful, and I'm grateful. I'm doing well. Happy to be here.
Okay. Well, once again, I want to say thank you. I'm very honored that you accepted the invitation to be interviewed, and I am honored. So thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. So before we get into the meat of the interview, tell the people a little bit about Temakha.
Okay. Temakha is a modern day medicine woman, and my remedies include music, art, meditations, experiences. Many know me as Tiara T. Benton. I have a beautiful, successful modeling career of about 17 years behind me that I give thanks for. And a few others know me as TT, family members. My journey has been very beautiful. Been blessed experience. Many things brought me to a level of remembrance for this ancient modality that we call Kemetic Reiki. And along my journey of modeling, entertainment, and being really involved in showbiz from a very young age, I experienced a lot of things, went through a lot of rites of passage. And all of that was in divine alignment with bringing me into a more deeply rooted essence of my purpose, which is providing healing and balance to myself first, and then to my people and to my community through my gifts. So that's a little bit about who I am.
Okay. Well, I thought you was about to do the whole autobiography right there. So
well, I'm a songwriter, so I have a thing for words, and we can do this all day.
Okay. So where are you from, sister?
Where am I from? So I am the daughter of a military man. My father is a Marine, so I was born in Hawaii, which is always a really cool conversation starter. But I was raised mostly in Northeast Georgia, in this little town they call Gainesville. It's not little anymore, but yeah, Gainesville, Georgia. I did most of my growing up. Spent some time in Atlanta as well. I went to Georgia State University, and then from there, I spent some time in New York. So it's a little bit of everywhere. But yeah.
You're a nomad.
I'm a nomad. Yeah, I'm a wanderer.
Okay, so you mentioned you had a brief modeling career.
Well, I wouldn't call it brief. It was
Well,
about
no, exactly.
from the age of 13. Yeah, from the age of 13, and I still do modeling to this day. So it's been it's a long relationship that I have with that craft and that art form.
So what made you do that? Like at 13?
Honestly, honestly, it was like the manifestation of I think my mom said I was 3. My mom is a beautiful, she designs my jewelry. She's a fashionista. She's always been into design of all types. And she used to watch a lot of fashion shows when I was growing up. And around 3, I remember telling, or she tells me the story of telling her that I wanted to be a walker when I grew up. And at first, she kind of looked at me like, what is this baby talking about? What kind of walker? And then when the fashion show was on television, I'm like, Mommy, I want to do that. So fast forward 10 years, and her and I are walking into the mall, and there was a modeling competition going on. And these people ran up to me with measuring tape and, hey, how old are you? What's your sizes? And I was just kind of like, whoa. And then they, after we kind of settled the energy, they entered me into a modeling competition. I ended up winning. And from there, got my first steps into my modeling career. Yeah.
Nice. So you were
Yeah.
really discovered. So you didn't go there for that.
No, we went to go shopping like a regular, mom and daughter shopping trip. And boom, the beginning of my career.
Wow. So you were really discovered.
Yeah, I was discovered.
Okay. Wow. But that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
When a talent. I was telling someone like you actually, you don't. People don't get discovered anymore. They get created.
Mhm. Mhm.
They someone put money behind them, marketing and
Mhm.
advertisement, and they are created, and that's what makes it so unauthentic to me. Like like
Yeah. And you can tell, you can feel it. Mhm.
yes, yes, yeah, yes. So you did modeling. You went, or you're still
Mhm.
doing modeling. I'm sorry, you do modeling. You went to Georgia
Yeah,
State,
here and there. I did.
and and you said that kinetic Reiki, right?
Great. Yeah. Yeah.
What
Life changing.
explain it? Okay, explain to me what it is and how it changed your life.
Okay. So what it is, Kemetic Reiki. First, we got to break down the words that I'm using. Kemetic. It gives authenticity and respect to the ancient civilization that we call Kemet, usually spelled KMT, that many people now today know as Egypt. I've
Mm-hmm.
always had an adoration for that culture. Even as a little girl, I don't ever remember being taught to love Egypt the way that I do and continue to. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Kemetic and Reiki is basically this ancient healing modality of tapping into the universal life energy. So much like if you fall and you get a boo-boo, you get a scrape, your body naturally knows how to, form a scab and then later on heal that and put your skin back into order or the bruise back into order. Your energy body does the same. And I put an emphasis on Kemetic Reiki because I've had the blessing of coming through the Raseki Kemetic Arts Temple. And I learned from one of my master teachers. She's in the Bronx. I call her Queen Mootchat. I give much thanks to her for really reminding me of this ancient healing modality. So, just to give you a bit of backstory, um, starting modeling about 13 years old, one of the major aspects of modeling is going on what they call go-sees. Go-sees is like a series of interviews, just like any job interview, but you do it every time that you're put up for a opportunity, for an ad, a commercial, anything like that. And that process can be very grueling. It's not like your more professional avenues. It could be, but instead of being judged more so on your resume or your intelligence or your, ancestry, you're judged on your superficial, your looks. And a lot of comments can be said that aren't necessarily very kind. Being a young girl and growing up and waking into womanhood and that type of environment where there's so much focus on the external, so much focus on your body. Thank God for my mother and my father for being the roots that they are. You just start to collect a lot of things.
Right, right.
And when I moved to New York, it was my first time living in a big city. Lived there for about 5 years. And around like year 2.5, those things start to really take a toll on you. And I found myself in what I would consider now looking back a depression. Of course, on the outside, my career was doing very well. I was working with Project Runway. I had billboards everywhere. Everything is looking great on the outside. However, it came to a point where I can definitely notice that on the inside, I was not feeling well. I was not feeling very happy. I was not feeling very balanced. And that pendulum can only swing so far. There's only so many physical things you can do. Oh, put mascara on. Oh, let's go have another party. Like, before you have to take a moment to really reflect with yourself. And I'm glad that I did. And I was at a African festival in Brooklyn and walked up on this booth. It was almost like magic. Well, it was magic. I walked up to this booth and it was just magnetism. I spoke with Mootchat and saw what she was doing. And took it in my mind, like, okay, this is something I want to learn about. Took a flyer, ended up coming to Savannah and had my first Reiki session down here with a brother who practices down here. And to be honest with you, Reiki is like, it's like a massage for your energy body. It's like a deep cleanse for your energy body. Many people are empaths and they're very inward focused. They can feel the energy of a space. And what I found with Reiki, my first session, I had never felt that peaceful before. It's like, okay, wow, I feel clear. I feel free. I feel happy. I feel peaceful. And it's definitely something from that day that I knew that I didn't just want to use as another one of my practices. Oh, this will be like going to get my nails done. Or, oh, this will be like going to get a massage. I was like, no, I will to learn more about this. And 3 years from there, I became a practitioner. So,
Wow.
yeah, I decided that I wanted to share this with my community. And this is something that is our science. This is our art. This is our history. There's a lot of people who consider themselves to be energy healers. And a lot of times this art is attributed to cultures that are babies to Kemet, to be honest. When you look at the numbers, you look at the dates. It's like, why are we attributing this to be an origin over here when we were doing this all the way back here, all the way back then? So it's kind of like when you think about the old Baptist church of the laying on of hands. Or, as a child, when you fall and your mama comes and says, oh, baby, okay, well, let me kiss it. It's this concept of being, as a practitioner, I've just been equipped with techniques and skills to concentrate energy, to assist with helping with the energy things that are going on. A lot of times people in their lives, they think that everything is physical. You can't understand why you can't get your money right, or you can't get this opportunity that you want. And you're not looking at it from whatever beliefs or thoughts or memories you're holding in your energy that are causing you blockages for what it is you want to see in your physical reality. So that's in a nutshell what I do and why it has changed my life. Like,
That's a big nutshell.
Yeah, it was a really big nutshell, right? An abundant nutshell.
But so that's you use crystals, right?
I do. Crystals, gemstone. We call them gemstones, crystals, essential oils, music. Music is very important when it comes to doing healing modalities. Mm-hmm.
So you said a massage for your energy.
Yeah, I call it like a massage or a cleanse for your energy body. And I know this is not something that I know and I talk about, that I read about. This is something that I witnessed take place within myself. When I started working on myself, if you want to become a Reiki practitioner, which I highly recommend just to be equipped with this skill, it's a sacred art. First, you always have, for level 1, you have to learn to work with yourself, right? And I talked about this, and we could talk about this a bit later, but I talk about this a lot in my book. I have a book called Adundaverse, The Remedy. And I talk about this journey and how I started working with my own energy. And I started learning and remembering like things from my childhood that I love to do that I hadn't been doing in a while, like painting and singing. I've been focused on modeling for so many years. I'm like, this is what I'm here to do. This is my thing. When I do it, people clap, I get money. This is what I'm here to do. And then when that wasn't enough, it was like, okay, I moved back home with my mother and father here in Savannah. For a long time, I just went outside, meditated, did my Reiki practices, and then all these paintings started coming out of me. And the first
Mm.
series that I did is actually a series of the chakras. I talk a lot about the energy body, and you can break the energy body down into the chakras. These are these energy vortexes, or I call them like lenses. They're like glasses. People talk about putting the rose petal glasses on. Well, your chakras are they're like speakers. They're like lenses, and they have a certain frequency for how they understand and how they transmute energy. Your root chakra is about stability, your ancestry. Your throat chakra is about speaking truth. Your crown chakra is about, inspiration, your connection to what you call the Most High, or your higher power. And when you work with these centers in yourself, you are fully equipped to remember that everything that you need is inside of you. There's no need to, go looking around for the answers and the guidance. You can pull it from looking in. And I feel like, and I know that our natural state as beings is peace.
Right.
And this is not something that, again, has to be fluctuated or has to be taken away. And if you're not in peace, it's just simply that you need to cleanse. You need to just shake
Right.
off whatever it is that you're holding that's got you feeling outside of yourself. So,
Right.
working with this art for the last 4 years, it has changed my life, honestly. And it is something that I'm always sure to discuss and to talk about. And it goes into everything that I do. So even in my art, I put the energy in my art. I put the energy in my music. I put the energy in the experiences that I curate. Like it's all about just assisting others with something that has assisted me.
As I listen to you talk, I think about like a lot of traditions that we hold that are like, I want to say, novice versions of just what you're trying to do. For example, you say cleansing, cleansing your energy. I think about baptism,
Yes.
right? Like I think
Yes.
about
Yes.
baptism because baptism is supposed to cleanse your soul. Like
Yes.
it's supposed to cleanse your soul. Or
Yes.
when so I think about like, but these things that men instituted because actually the work that you're saying that we need to do is arduous. Like it ain't easy.
It can feel like that. It
Right.
definitely
Like
can feel like that.
arduous.
It's a work. It's
But
a lifestyle.
but baptism is easy, right? It's supposed to
And
symbolize the cleansing of your soul, but
it is.
because all is, and once again, I'm gonna say it's supposed to symbolize, not actually do it,
Exactly.
because the work still has to be done by you. But the
This is true.
baptism is
This
is
is
a
true.
symbolization of that. So I just feel like someone said, well, you know what, it'll be too hard for people to actually do what you're proposing to do, so let me come up with a simpler way for them to be
Right.
able to, at least feel like
The
that's what they're
shortcut.
doing. Right.
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 And
But at least
I grew up in the church. I grew up in a Christian Methodist Episcopal church. And I realize now that I'm looking back at all these different opportunities and ways of approaching spirituality that I've had access to. Baptism is beautiful, but baptism is not a
mhm,
one-time thing. Baptism is
right,
not. There's definitely ritual is something that you do, and this is something that our people do. We invented ritual. We brought ritual with us. We are ritual. So it's like
hmm,
there's this idea that things have to be done, once and it's done, and it's not. Because I don't just take one shower in my lifetime and then I'm clean for the rest of my physical life. I don't wash
right,
my clothes one time and my shoes one time, and that's it. So it's like bringing, even if that is something that you have respect and honor for. We get baptized every time we step into the shower, so treat it as
right,
such. Like
right.
cleanse yourself, and I feel like it's such a necessary aspect, and it's so simple. Honestly and truthfully, it's harder to hold on to those things that are not serving you. It's really harder to do that than it is to let those things go and become who it is you're really here to be. And
Right.
I'm not saying that because I read it in the book. Like I've embraced the lifestyle, and anybody who
Right.
may be wondering or who might look and be like, oh, well, that's for her, and oh, she's got it together, that's for her. It's like I get it
It's for everybody.
together it's for everybody,
For
and it's
everybody.
something that you're always going to be getting it together.
Right.
You're always going to have
I,
work to do.
I always say the human race.
Hmm.
They're like, yeah, I may be telling my age, but I think, I look good to be 52. But anyway, so
Ashe,
the
thank you, and yes, you
the
do.
all right, thank you. The human race is like Voltron to me. It was a cartoon called Voltron, right?
Okay,
And Voltron like had like 5 elements, right? Two
okay,
arms, 2 legs, body, right? Now, those
okay.
arms, those arms were nothing by themselves. They were nothing by themselves. But if you get those arms together with the legs and the body, like they're invincible, right?
Hmm.
Now, we think about 8 billion people on this planet, all
Yeah.
breathing the same air, which
Yes.
which the exact same air. There's
Mm.
there's no air, the quality of the air may be different in certain areas.
It's the same air, though. It's the
But it's the
same.
same air. It's the same air,
Hmm.
right? So that
Hmm.
means if we're able, in any living thing on this planet, right?
Right.
If any living thing on this planet that benefit from that air comes from the source
Hmm.
and is a element and part of the source, right? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So when you think about even the ant, it may be insignificant,
Hmm.
but we can't get rid of all the ants, right? Like
No,
it'll be they play a part in what
they
we're
do.
what we're doing, right? So,
This is true.
but the way we live now, we pit ourselves against ourselves, right? We break ourselves into races, we break ourselves into ethnicity, like we
Hmm.
break ourselves down, but and it hinders our growth.
Hmm.
It doesn't stop it because we're still gonna grow. Like
Hmm.
we still gonna continue to grow, but it hinders it because we trying to single ourselves out, right? Like
Hmm.
right. So I was telling the guy today. I say, look, being a Black American, I am blessed to be a part of a race and ethnicity of people that can never be extinct, right? I can never be extinct. But what does that mean?
Mm.
What does that mean? If I know that, what does that mean? To me,
Yeah.
that means it's our responsibility to show the rest of the world how you're supposed to live life.
Ashe.
Like we are the prototype,
Ashe.
right?
Hmm.
And so therefore we need to get together.
Together. All the way. All the way.
Right.
All the way.
And the
All the
energy
way.
that you possess, I see that it's just about that, right? Like it's just about like
That's
giving
all
out
it
that
is.
energy. So Ricky, because I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued
Okay.
because I have another friend of mine, Miss Latrice Strong, who's another amazing young lady. She does Reiki. Like I said, I'm from North Carolina.
Either way, yeah. I've
Okay,
heard it both
so
ways. I call it Reiki. Either way,
okay.
as long as you're getting that loving energy, it don't matter what you call
Well,
it.
she also does that as well, right? And
Okay.
and I already see a commonality between the two of you,
Hmm.
right? Like just the spirit that when I'm looking at you and experiencing your spirit, I'm just reminded of Latrice. right? I'm just reminded of her
Mm.
and the energy that she exudes. So, and the only thing that I can equate that
Mm.
to is Reiki, right? Like because that's the only thing that I
Mhm.
know that y'all have in common. So, with that being
Mhm.
said, when you initially started, like I know you said it's something that you never felt before, but after you felt it, what did you think? Like what did you think?
To give it a bit more framework, the session that I did was about an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and the practitioner used gemstones, music, all this stuff. And when we got to about like 45 minutes, I maybe even before that, around like 30 minutes, I was starting to think about things. Like I was like, wow, my ankle does. It's like when you sit in meditation, you're actually able to realize and tap into being in your body. So many of us spend so much time in our minds that we have no concept of what's going on in our body. You stubbing your toe, you got a bruise over here, you didn't even know it was here. So it's like, while I was on the table, I'm like, wow, my ankle kind of feels funny. And then when I thought that, he goes down to my ankle and starts working on my ankle. And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, okay, well, my shoulder is kind of weird now that I'm thinking about it. And then he comes over and he's working on my shoulder. So I'm just sitting here like, this is a vibe. And then when we got to the conclusion, like I say, between 45 minutes into the end of the hour, when he did like allow me to let me know the session's complete, but take your time when you rise up off the bed, and get yourself together. I remember the feeling that I had. Bye-bye. It was almost as if the soul that I am and the spirit, the essence, whatever word you want to use, it felt too big to fit back into my body.
Wow.
I was like, how am I going to get all of this back in here? And I took my
Right.
time, and I set up, and you say, what did I think? There were no thoughts. There were no thoughts. There were no words. There were no questions. The only thing that I'm an avid writer, so I write in my journal, and I'm always I'm a messenger, give thanks to Most High. I produce and give messages. And the only message I had was just like, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. I think that's exactly what I wrote in my journal. Like, what is understood does not need to be explained. It doesn't need to be adulterated with words and concepts and definitions. Like, you know what this is, you know what you feel. Don't play about that. That's it. That's a gift, what you've just been given. At the
Right.
time I was Tiara, so I'm like, that's a gift you've been given, Tiara. So
Right.
think about that, log that. And yeah, the only thing that I could, if I go back to the mental space, what was I thinking? Wow, I feel amazing.
Wow.
Wow, like the colors are so bright out here. Like, wow, I've been practicing yoga for probably about as long as I've been modeling. So going on almost 20, 22 years. And I've done hot yoga. Hot yoga probably gave me the closest feeling that I felt when I had my first Reiki session. Um, but I remember, like after hot yoga, you do it it's almost like you're doing yoga in a sauna. So you get to really be in your body. Everything is a lot more flexible. You got a lot more juju than you thought you did. And then you
Right.
come out and you're just like, woo, like, a lot of stress is released through those practices. And again, this is ancient work. This is something that our great, 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 great grandmamas and granddaddies have passed down through our bloodline. This is not new. This is not exclusive to some other culture, some other people. There are no other, this is ours. It's
Mm-hmm.
come from our
Mm-hmm.
ancient mother. And the best way I can describe like a piece of that feeling that I had when I had my first comedic Reiki experience was just well, that one actually wasn't comedic. That artist doesn't come through the comedic art, but still the intention was set and the healing was incredible. The peace, it was so sweet. It is so sweet, and it was something that I knew that I could maintain. That if I continue practicing and learning more about like what's that gemstone and what's that oil for, really like it lit me up. I never knew, I
Mm.
didn't know that I could feel that way. And I had
Mm.
been feeling so many other types of ways for so long that became normal. And, we had a
Mm.
little brief discussion earlier about energy before we started
Mm-hmm.
our dialogue, just because something has been done a long time doesn't make it normal. So when we talk about being brothers and sisters and the experiences that we have been through, period. Some of those experiences have been glorious and regal and divine, and it's all divine. Some of it has been very traumatic and
Mhm.
challenging and trippy. And just because the traumatic and the trippy is happening for a long time does not make it normal. You know, we
Right.
normalize things like high blood pressure and cancer and, you know, dementia, all these things that we have a name for. We normalize like that stuff's okay. And it's like, no, your body has been telling you since you got to this planet that it can heal itself. So why are you accepting these labels and these things as your identity? You know, all these different quote unquote ailments, dis-ease. It's just telling you that there's a dis-ease in your body. There's something that needs to be harmonized, cleansed, and brought back to balance. So when I came into the remembrance of just how simple it is, now in theory and in the plan, it's very simple. If you dirty, you just need to be clean. That's all. If you're not feeling good, you just need to release what it is that you're holding on to. That part is simple.
Mhm.
The practice, of course, is it's a lifestyle, and this is a lifestyle that we come from. It's not something that is opposed on us by something else. This is something that God has given us as people, given us this wisdom, this reverence, this ability to be and enjoy life. You know, a lot of times growing up, um, I would always be asking, like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What's my purpose? I'm like 7 years old. Like, what's my purpose? It's like, chill, 7 year old. Like, be a child, you
Right.
know? Right. I'm asking my mom, when I started modeling, I was like, Mom, is modeling my purpose? And she's like, it's a part of it, I'm sure, you know, but slow down, grasshopper. Like, sheesh, you know? And now as I reflect, I feel like my purpose is no different from your purpose, is no different from anyone's purpose. Purpose is to enjoy life. That's why we're here. You know, that breath we just took is a gift. So what you gonna use it to do? What you gonna do with it? You know, we
Mhm.
talk about air, we talk about water. The water that's on this planet is the same water that's been here. It's figured out how to enjoy itself over eons. So it's like, as a
Mhm.
part of that element is said, they say 70% of this, you know, spaceship that I'm in, I need to remember, I need to learn how to enjoy myself. And anything that's in the way of that is just showing me that it's not a problem. It's just a project. Okay, I need to get this and let this go. You know, a lot of times people talking about figuring out, oh, I just got to figure it out. There's no figuring out. You just need to go within. And it's not
Mhm.
just saying that to, you know, put you in a corner and to abandon you. Like, you need to work with beings. You know, I'm not the only artist out here who uses my gifts for healing. You need to work with and seek those beings who can assist you with going home to yourself. And that's all it is. You know, I really feel that.
You
I
know,
really feel that.
you know, I always say like reaction is
Mm,
easy. Like
mm,
that's the easy thing. Like reaction to anything is easy. It's just somebody hit you, you hit them back,
mm-hmm.
or
It's
you
automatic.
know,
Mm-hmm.
right. It's easy. Right? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us are accustomed to reaction. Like we
Mm-hmm.
normalize reaction. Like we,
Mm-hmm.
you know, right? So you see of us, you know, and not to knock anyone with a traditional job, not to knock anyone with a traditional
No,
job, but we're not put on the planet to work till we die, right? Like
no.
that's that's not logical for me, right?
Mm-mm.
But
Mm-mm.
because because we look at things outside of us that we want, we allow that want to dictate that we need to work until we die because that's what we want. But that is a reaction, right?
It is. The
That's a
whole thing.
reaction, right? The
Yes,
whole thing is just a chain of reactions, like right.
exactly.
But
You
those
saying this makes me think. Oh, go ahead. Excuse me.
no, go ahead, sister.
You saying that it sparked a thought I had about this book I read called Creative Visualization by this author by the name of Shakti Gwan. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. And it's a book that teaches you about like using your imagination, like meditating in one chapter, she talks about this, the pyramid, you know, and she talks about how the pyramid has being, doing, and having on it. And so many of us, you know, we've grown up in such a privileged lifestyle. Like, I don't want to just beat up, you know, being Black in America like it's all bad. Like, this is a privilege. The things that I have access to, I can go turn on water when I want to, hot and cold. Everybody on this planet doesn't have access to that, you know, and the lifestyle that I have. You know, I'm talking to you on my MacBook. Like, that's not something everybody has access to. So let's be real about the privilege that comes with it. But this whole concept of being, doing, and having, most of what we learn in the same privileged upbringing is to approach life through having things. So it's like, whatever you want to be, say I want to be happy. Okay, you approach it the wrong way on the pyramid. So I got to have all this stuff so I can do what it is I really want to do, and then I'm going to be happy.
Right.
And that's doing the math problem backwards. It's like, instead of doing the math problem backward, well, if I have this job, then I'll be able to do the vacation that's going to give me the peace that I need. Then I'm going to be happy and be healed. It's like, you're still doing the math problem backwards. So it's like, instead of, will you give yourself the time and space to become one, whatever it is that it is you think you need to have. So say I want to be confident, or I want to be peaceful. I don't see any desire outside of peace. I don't see the need for any other desires. If you don't have peace, it don't matter what you have. But when you think about being peaceful, then you will do things that keep that in your beingness, and then you will have peace, or you will have, you know, things that show proof that you started and you did the math problem in the proper sequence, you know. And that's what I thought about when you made that mention. It's like, yeah, we've been taught to approach life in such a grab and go get, right. And we know that inside we know and remember that this ain't it. Because why do I still have to grab something else? And I still got to grab something else and grab something else. And it's like, then you start grabbing other people's stuff. It's like, hold up, put all of that down and really be, you know?
Yeah, it's funny that you said, like, we have to understand the privileges that we as Black Americans have, right? And I tell people this often: Black Americans are the best kept Black people in the world.
Not sure.
Like you may not want to you may not want to say that, given the current climate of the you know, but
because there's always work. There's always work. There's always
right,
you know, I need to improve. But let's be real.
Right. Let's keep it real now. Let's keep it real. And you know, one of my idols is Marcus Garvey. And I had a conversation with one of my guests. Marcus Garvey said, in regards to Pan-Africanism, right, that is, if Black people are going to restore Africa to its present glory, it's going to come through the Black American. This is what a Jamaican said. A Jamaican said this, right? And he said, because of their access to information that other Black people all over the world do not have, it's, why did you think he come here and had the biggest UNIA chapter in the world? He had them all over the world, but his biggest chapter was here. He didn't have to come here. This was Marcus Garvey. He came here because he understood that because of access, right? Because of access that we have, you know, an advantage over Black people in other parts of the world, you know. And when you say, when you said, like, you're doing the math problem backwards, it's almost like it's almost like my happiness or my peacefulness is dependent upon something.
And it's like, it's one of those things where it's almost like going fishing and you have the fishing line and you're just always, it's always just ahead of you.
Right.
It's like, you know, it's like, oh, well, I'll be glad when this is over. Why not be glad now?
Right. Exactly.
I'll be fine when this is done. Why are you waiting? Why are you giving yourself a punishment and a term to serve before you can be in the frequency that it is that you know you will?
when I was
It's like,
growing
and
up,
it'll always be next week. It'll always be,
right?
just around the corner. It's like, no, bring it here.
When I, when I was growing up, the elders used to have a saying: "Any day above ground is a great day."
Ashe,
Right? Any day above ground is a great day. Like,
ashe,
and I think that's how I approach life. Like,
ashe.
um, I have questions like, when people are going through problems and they're worrying about something, right? And I'm gonna ask you these questions. So, um, do you believe in the creator?
Ashe.
Right.
I
Or
don't
or
even,
create or
honestly,
creative or creative energy.
I have to be specific. I have
Right,
to be
right.
specific, even with that word belief. Let's break that word down.
Okay.
In the middle of the word belief is this little word that's lie.
Right.
So I say that I know and I give thanks for the reality of the creator.
Okay. Okay. Do you know and give thanks that you are made in his image and after his likeness?
Ashe. And I
Okay.
don't even give it a gender as well. It's not even
Right.
necessary
Okay.
for there to be, too much emphasis on that, because then
Oh,
it's like you're taking something that is, and you're trying to, when it's
box.
still
Right. But you're trying to box it in, but there's no box to
exactly,
hold it. Right. Okay.
exact,
So the last
exact.
question is: so since you believe in a not believe, there's a creative energy, that you're made in that
Ashe.
creative energies likeness. So do you
And
think that creative
mhm.
energy worries?
No.
So why should you? So why should you?
Mm-mm. That's
If
a
you know that,
fantastic question.
right? So why should you? If you know that and give thanks to that energy, that you made in that energy's likeness, and that
Hmm.
that energy doesn't worry. Why are you worrying?
Simple math right there.
And that's simple math, point blank, like
Hmm.
straight to the point. But the problem is what we were talking about. What we were talking about in the green room. We become
Hmm.
accustomed to such dark energy.
Hmm.
Like and worrying is a dark energy.
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Like it's a very dark energy.
Hmm.
Um, we come so we normalize that aspect of it. Like when I hear people, or just since someone is worrying, people around them, like we all go through that. Like it's okay, and it's
Hmm.
not okay, because whether you know it or not, inside it's killing you. It's
Hmm.
draining you. It's taking your energy.
Hmm.
And that's why
Hmm.
we come to people like you to cleanse that, right? And put that
Yes.
back in alignment.
Yes. And to also provide tools, it's one thing to say, like, hey, don't do that. And it's another
Right.
thing to actually, hey, go fish. And it's another thing for me to teach you how to fish. And before I came
Okay.
into the realization that, I can have sovereignty over how I feel. I don't just have to go with the waves or whatever the things. I can actually choose how to feel. Like that was
Mhm.
a very empowering moment for me. And I can choose peace. That's a choice. And that's always a choice. Whoa. Like, wow, that takes the whole like game board and it really puts it back in your own lap. And that's one thing I know when it comes to working with all people. It's just a matter of equipping you with the tools that you need to get in alignment with yourself. Because just like I'm made in the image and likeness, you are too. And just like the
Right.
plant is, the animal is, nothing is outside of the reality of God or what you, God, creator, most high, whatever you want to put the word on it. Let's not get caught up in semantics. The higher, the source energy that we come from. It's like we're all from that same source. So this idea of, oh, well, just figure it out, or say, stop doing that without equipping you with tools. Like I can't garden without tools. I can't paint without tools. I can't sew without tools. I can't write a song without tools. So it's like, even when it comes to healing and restoring balance, there are tools,
Right.
and I give thanks to be chosen to be a tool keeper, and a gatekeeper this ancient wisdom. Like, I don't take ownership. This is not mine. I'm not like, oh, the only one. Like, nah, this is ancient. This is a gift. This is a gift that, I'm backstage modeling, and the girls want to talk about what shoes they got and where they're going to eat. And I'm like, but have you ever had a Reiki session?
Right.
I know what that is and all of that. But have you had somebody remind you and assist you with your peace? Because once you get
Right.
that, like, you start to realize that a lot of the things that you were conditioned to desire. You talk a lot about, we spoke a bit about dark energy, and dark energy is needed. What
Mm-hmm.
is dark energy but energy that has not had the light shown on it?
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke a little bit too about, the struggles that a portion of our ancestors went through, as far as not being able to speak in the way that we're discussing and exchanging energy right here, right now. That is
Mm-hmm.
a something to give thanks for. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of shedding light, until I came into the awareness that, I needed to get myself together. And I'm living in a reality that everyone around me is like, oh, girl, you look good. You good, girl. You should be happy because and it's like, but I'm
Right.
feeling something else. And I'm feeling in a
Right.
way where maybe you haven't come to feel this way yet.
Right.
But I'm so grateful for my past versions of myself that made the decisions to put me into the position that I'm in today, to actually not only be at peace, especially even in the climate that we're going through, globally right now. And honestly, like, this is a climate that is just a fragment of many other reflections of the similar climate. There's always going to be duality. There's always going to be a go and a come, an up and a down, rain, sunshine and rain, joy and pain, and one and the same,
Right.
so there's always going to be a seesaw. So instead of getting caught on the seesaw, when it's sunny outside, you want to be then it rains, and then you want to be like, no, how about you just stay in the middle with it? How about you just stay peaceful? How about you just stay connected to source? How about even when it looked like you about to lose everything, you say, hold up, well, everything came from you, Most High. So let me chill, let me surrender, let me relax my shoulders, let me pray. I come from a praying grandmother. My grandmother prayed for me. I'm here because my
Right.
grandmother prayed.
Right.
Using our gifts and our ability to speak in a way that honors the air. I find it so interesting that we have we have to wear masks, we go out. And I spent so much time in my journey removing these masks that I was
Right.
wearing that were not who I am. And now we
Right.
all in time out and we got to wear these masks to
Right.
go, do simple things. And it's just funny to me. I think about the air. I think about the lungs. This condition that they're calling, what they're calling, I'm not even gonna give it too much cachet. Is hurting people's lungs and ability to breathe. Something that we take for granted. Something that you do. I don't know how many times in a day and didn't think about it. Do it
Right.
with intention. Do it with gratitude. Put thanks into the air. All this negativity, all this fear, all of this. Put love and gratitude. And using your voice. That's why I'm very intentional with my music, and I'm so grateful for the gifts that I've been given by the Most High. And I know it's not just to be cute in the VIP section. Like, it's to share and to give thanks to existence. Like, I'm here, and while I'm here, I'm gonna give thanks. I'm not gonna give
Right.
fear. I'm not gonna give separation. I'm not gonna give condemnation. That's for our management team to do, the council of angels and things. However you get down, that's for them. That's their department. I'm here to give thanks, and I'm here to be. And I'm here to be, not just be, but be true and to be
Right.
authentic. That's something that,
Right.
mandatory, and this new wave that we're stepping into as a culture, as a people. All of us, we are being called to step forward and to step forward authentically, be true. No more, it looked like this, but it's really this. It say natural lotion on the bottle, but then you turn it over and it's got I don't know, dye number 3 and
Right.
all it. Like, hold up.
Right. Right.
The
Right.
shade tree figured it out already, The olive
Right.
tree figured it
Right.
out already. What are we doing? Hold up, people.
Right.
So it's like I feel we're in a very pivotal time as a people and as creations of Most High to really anchor and remember these old things that our grandmamas used to do, man, and our grandfathers, these simple customs that connect us to the present moment. Like, there is
Right.
nothing else. There's no next week. There's no what happened last week. It's like, come here and be here all the way, please, and take a breath and
Right.
enjoy it.
And take a breath and
That's it.
enjoy it. You know, it's funny
That's
that you
it.
said that. It's funny that you said it's time for us to take a breath. But you know, I understand that like strength comes through adversity, right? Like in order for you to
Mhm.
be in order for you to be strong in any type of discipline, there has
Mhm.
to be some form of adversity, and
This is true.
that adversity is not a real thing. It's
Oh, but
really
it be feeling
right,
real though.
right. It's not a right. It definitely is not a real thing. It's just a
Mhm.
test for your discipline,
Exactly.
right? It's now, let's say you're a weightlifter. Yeah, that 100 pounds, it's real. Like it's
Mhm.
heavy and it's everything, right? But if you have discipline enough,
Mhm.
eventually you'll master that 100 pounds. Like you'll master that. So
Mhm.
you know, and if you're able to master it and lift that, then
Mhm.
you not being able to lift it was just a figment of your imagination,
Mhm.
right? So therefore it
Mhm.
wasn't really real. Like what you thought
Mhm.
that you couldn't do wasn't really real because you did
Because you're doing it and you're doing
it.
it well.
Right. And you did
Yeah,
it right. So
that part.
I understand, so I understand that adversity has to be part of the equation, right?
Of course.
Like I understand that. And when you
Yeah.
were saying like the seesaw be right in the middle and be at peace,
Yeah.
I just thought about the seesaw, and I think about like if you go to a park and you see a seesaw and it's lopsided, you may not say it, but you get that feeling like that ain't right. Right? Like it's like
Mm.
that ain't, that ain't right. That ain't it just looks out of place, right?
Mhm.
But then when you get on a seesaw with somebody and it goes down, if you ever and all of us have ridden a
It's been a
seesaw,
while. Right. It's been a
right?
while.
But
You got me wanting to get
but
on
when
one now.
when it goes down, the most exciting time of that ride is when you're parallel to the person on the other side.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like when you can actually see that, and that's when you're even,
Yes.
right?
Balance.
You're
Mhm.
balanced. Like you may not I can remember, it's been a while, but I can remember like what fun
Yes, we
would it
gotta
be?
bring some more seesaws.
Yeah, like what fun would it be to just go up and down?
Mm-mm.
It like there's no fun in that. Just up and down, up and down. But it was fun to
Mhm.
us when we were younger riding it, but it wasn't an up and
Yeah.
down experience. It was really, to me, that balance that was there that we got every time we went up and we get down. We would go through the vortex of the balance, so to speak.
That's a very beautiful visual. You're taking me back to childhood. And even in those times when we were on the seesaw, that's life. Life is always going to do just that. I go to the beach often. That's all the ocean does is go in and out,
Mm-hmm.
in and
Mm-hmm.
out. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like you sit there, and I consider that, being on the shoreline is like being at the most beautiful altar when you really think about it. Like altars are not restricted to what we consider to be temple spaces and physical edifices. Like the ocean is an altar, and when you're there at the shoreline at this vast, massive amount of H2O that anytime could just take you on back where you might have came from, and it doesn't. Like there's this level of surrender. There's this level of give and take, but there's no holding on to anything.
Right.
There's just this ancient rhythm, and it's something that I feel blessed to have such an exchange with. I've always found that nature has always been my biggest inspiration when it comes to my creativity. Um, Nothing does it better than creator. Like when you look at plants and the different animals and
Mm.
different shades of green that we have access to. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have so many shades of just green that we can be like, wow, that's creativity. You look at the sunset and it's just like, wow, and I challenge. I'm always about some challenges. I'm challenging all the viewers who are viewing, like, really take a moment, create a moment to give yourself some quiet time in nature. Like I call nature the sanctuary. Like, what else is there? Like we go through changes and we have these very beautiful advanced minds we can use to do anything with, really. And if we leave it up to someone else, it could be used to imagine things you really don't want to happen for yourself. But the last thing I want to happen is, it's like, don't even give that any ashe. When I say ashe, don't even give that any spiritual power. Don't even give that any attention. We haven't been taught that we can ignore things that come into our mind. We think everything that come in here is supposed to stay, and it's like, no, that's not it. That's just a challenge. That's just a test. That was just strength training, right? We're talking about working out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you spend time in nature and you allow yourself to just be for a moment or two, there's something that happens, and it's something that I know as a sister, it was just, even when I do get a little ahead of myself or I feel myself getting a little tense, anytime I go into the sanctuary, I can like snap back into reality. The birds, for example, however many we have, billions of versions of birds we have. And I observed them. That's what our ancestors did. They observed nature. They observed. They didn't come in talking and putting list and definition. Oh, this is what this is. They observed. They sat with their two eyes and their two ears and observed. And when I observe the birds, the first thing they do in the morning, in my observation, is they give thanks. Tweet,
They
tweet,
come
tweet,
back.
tweet, tweet, tweet,
Right.
tweet, 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 tweet. Thank you. I woke up again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm here. And they go and they fly and they do their thing. They don't worry about where their meal's coming from. They don't worry about a thing, and they
Because it's
live in
all
this
been provided.
constriction and boundaries.
It's already been provided for. Right. Like it's here.
It's already done.
Right.
It's already
It's all
done. And in fact,
it's
what if it's even done because they're so joyful into their day? What if it's because maybe when they're tweeting and we're like, oh, what's that bird doing? Maybe they're like, imagining that they're gonna find some berries and some nuts to eat. Like, I don't know. And they singing about it. Like, like, I'm gonna get some berries. Like, what if what if that's the kind of approach you would take into your day? Instead of
right.
being like, oh gosh, it's Monday. Like, you know what?
I'm
Today's
gonna
gonna
tell you
be
this.
awesome.
I'm gonna tell you this story. I have an aunt, and I hope she don't get mad at me for saying it, but she
Uh-oh.
she lived in DC, and she would call me up, and we're from North Carolina, so she would call me up, and it'd be early in the morning. It's early in the morning. I mean, crack of dawn type. I haven't even started my day, and she'll call me and she'll say, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing okay." "Well, such and such died." I'm like, I don't want to hear that early in the morning. Like, you can wait to after lunch or something. Like, and I try to tell her, like, now I don't I don't watch the news in the morning, because immediately when you turn on the news, the first 7 minutes is just all bad news. Like, it's just
Mm-hmm.
somebody got shot, drug overdose. It's just all bad news. It's just
Mm-hmm.
immediately coming at you early in the morning. So what I do
Yeah.
is I listen to talk shows that are upbeat. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That are upbeat, just to get me in the mood. And
Mm-hmm.
when you say that you study nature, my wife and I, periodically, we like to drive up to Asheville, and
Oh, beautiful.
it's the journey is just, it's awesome. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome. And every time we go up this particular stretch, I would tell her, I say, "Baby, at one time this was just all trees. Like, it was just
Mm-hmm.
covered in just all trees. But the amazing part about it is man somehow found a way to drive, like make a path through all those trees and build a
Mm-hmm.
city, right?
Yeah.
And through all those trees and build a city.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see houses, they they're like on top of mountains, like
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
like
That's the
like
vibe.
they're on top and you saying to yourself, how do they do that? But then you
Right.
don't remember they still asking how they built the pyramids,
That part.
right? So
That
the
part.
ingenuity of man is like unfathomable. Like you can't imagine like all the things that we're able to do. That
Right.
that we're just able to do, because when you look around, everything on this earth was made by us, right?
Mm-hmm. It
Like
was a
everything,
thought. It was
every
an idea.
it was an idea. It was an idea.
Yeah.
But even with that idea, everything that was made by us, it was made by the earth too, because everything that's made by us comes from the earth. It ain't coming
Yep.
from anywhere else. Like
Same ingredients.
same
Mm-hmm.
ingredients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some of us are able to tap into that force in
Mm-hmm.
our mind and see the elements of the earth and say,
Mm-hmm.
I I can make this from this. I
Yeah.
can create this from this. And some of
Yeah.
us are just that brilliant, right? And that and not
Mm-hmm.
saying that all of us can't be that brilliant, but some of us have the
Mm-hmm.
discipline enough to understand that ain't that I mean, yeah, it's an obstacle, but I can make it work. Like
Yeah.
I can find, the key. I can find the
Yeah.
key, right?
Yeah.
And I think like with what you do enables people to relax, right?
And remember that they got the key.
They remember that they got the key, right?
You
You
already
remember
got it
that you already got the
right
key.
there in your
See, I
pocket.
told you this was gonna be a great interview. It was so great. We've been on this thing for an hour, and I don't want to go because I got to talk
I
about
know, right?
Abundaverse. I have to talk
Yes.
about Abundaverse. Like we have to
Please.
talk about that. Like
Please.
we definitely do.
Please.
So tell us about Abundaverse. I'm gonna go to the website while you're telling this, and then I'll share the
Okay.
screen on it. But tell us about Abundaverse.
Okay, so Abundaverse is my curated healing art hub. And basically, it's a space where I can share all the many creative gifts God has given me from music. I have a meditations album available there. And I also have many products for your home, for clothing, tennis shoes, art prints, all types of things that I transcribe my art onto. So if you see this here, this is a tapestry that I was able to create from an original art piece that I've made. And Abundaverse is really, it's almost the concept, it's not almost, it is the concept of just reminding ourselves. And it comes from my heart center as a reminder to myself that, abundance is my birthright. Abundance is the reality. It's really what, and this whole concept of lack and not enough and scarcity is something that I feel I had to overcome. And I'm still in the process of releasing, a lot of the things that have come through my bloodline, because I am, still connected to my ancestors and the people, the bloodline that I come from. And there's a lot of things in the bloodline that, wasn't cool. And Abundaverse is my ability to bring balance and to share these truths that I've been able to come into remembrance of. And it's an opportunity to just tap into the Abundaverse within yourself. Abundaverse does not belong to me. It's definitely one of my creative inputs, but it's a galaxy, it's a space, it's a vibe of just remembering your abundance, remembering that I'm not much different from you. In fact, we're a lot more alike than we are different. And with discipline, with the proper tools, you can build anything. And if you're going to be here, and experience life, why not build the most beautiful, most incredible life that you can imagine? Why not use your beautiful imagination to create things that are going to make your future generations proud and make your elders
Right.
proud, and more importantly than any of that, make you
Make
at peace
yourself
and
proud.
proud with yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a book that I was blessed to scribe called The Remedy, and it's a bit like what we talked about in our interview today. It's it explains my journey and how Kemetic Reiki assisted me with really healing and balancing my energy to really be more at home and like at peace with myself and what it is I'm here to be. And like I said, I'm a modern day medicine woman, and my remedies include everything that you can see on Abundaverse, from art to uh, some music, some vibes. My first single is called Nori. Nori is a Creole word that means nourishment. And that song is like my first offering into my music career from a very challenging experience that I went through with myself when I spoke earlier about finding myself just not really happy within myself. Um, that challenge I give thanks for, because it allowed me to realize that I needed to nourish myself. And around that same time when I wrote that song is when the idea for Abundaverse came to me. I just heard it. It's like the voice of an angel, like Abundaverse. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, I don't know what that is. I'm going to buy the domain and I'm going to be patient and wait, I suppose. And I've been building on the website and building on the brand for about 3 years now, going on 4. And it's just it's my offerings. I have so many things to give, so many things to share, so much that I will to exchange and to share with all people, especially those who I share bloodline and share ancestry with. There's been a lot of things that have been taken. There are a lot of things that have been stolen. There have been a lot of things that have been adulterated and not treated with reverence. So Abundaverse is a space where I can present those things back in a creative way, the way that, Most High sees fit to remix it through me, through my lens, through the gifts that I have. So it's
Okay.
it's a lot,
Abundaverse.
obviously.
No. But see,
Abundaverse.
that's it's not really a lot, you know. I think like, okay, if you live in the city, right? If you live in the city and you go down south and your grandmother tell you to go to the store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you may have to walk like a mile get to the store, right? To you, if you're from the city and you go down south, that's a long way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? That's a long way because you used to going to the end of the corner,
That part.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But to someone in the south, it ain't nothing
You're
but a
like, that's just
mile.
up the road a piece. They're just, yeah.
So so
I say.
it's really about perspective, like um how you looking at the information. Are you looking at if you're looking at the information as you know that's too much, right?
Then
That's
Abundaverse might not be for you.
right. That's too much. You don't want to go to the store, right?
Yeah,
Like you like that you don't want to go to the store. You want to go to the corner store, right?
that
Like
part.
so you need a Abundaverse Cliff Notes page. You know what I
That
mean?
part.
Like
That part.
because a lot of people want it easy, and not saying that it can't be easy. What I mean is we're
Mm-mm.
so addicted to whatever we want, it needs to be taken care of right now. Right? Like
Yeah, quick,
immediate.
quick, quick, quick.
Right. It
Mm-hmm.
needs to be taken care. It needs to be taken care of right now. But I didn't eat microwave food until I was well into my 20s. Like well into my 20s. Like nothing was microwave. Like it was
Right.
prepared. Right? It was
Yeah.
prepared. And I
Yes.
had to wait.
Yes. Patience. There's always a
Right?
blessing in patience.
I had to wait. So, those people, what's like I told you in the green room, those people, some people, may not, vibrate or may not feel the vibration at the level that, we're putting out. Some people won't. That's okay.
No,
Like
it's okay.
that's okay. That's okay. But some
Mhm.
people will. Right? And that's
Okay.
what we're here
So we
for.
give thanks.
That's what we're here for.
Ashe.
Right. So
Thank you.
before we leave, tell people how to get in touch with you in any way that your social media, your Abundaverse,
Okay.
like tell them how to get in touch with you. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a novice at this broadcasting. Some
No,
people would have all of your stuff on the screen and saying
no,
I'm
no,
so
sorry.
I
No, you're amazing. No, sorry. Hey,
okay.
and um, we old school. That's all. So just
Right.
kicking it old school with a little bit of new school flavor. As far
Okay.
as getting in contact with me, you can definitely contact me through the website www.abundaverse.com. That's
Hmm.
Abundaverse. That's like abundant and universe. Had a baby.
Right.
ABUNDAVERSE.com. And
Okay.
on social media, we've got Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, you can find me as Temakha, Temakha. And on Instagram, you can find me as Temakha Music, Temakha.music. And again, when it comes to the Instagram for the Healing Art Hub Abundaverse, it's just at Abundaverse. And yeah, I'm always taking time out in my day to reach out and to assist where I'm guided, where spirit guides me to assist. So if you feel needed to reach out or in need of some art that's going to help bring your vibes to a level of peace, I'm here. I'm present and willing to
Okay.
serve.
Okay. So here at the BRI, we have a tradition. Before I let my guests go,
Okay.
there are two questions that I have to ask them. Right. So
Okay.
the first question is, what are you doing? What are you doing to push the culture forward?
What am I doing to push the culture forward? I'm devoting myself every day to being my best self. That way I can provide my best self to my family. I can provide my best self to my community and thus provide my best self to my culture. And on a more elevator speech type way, I'm in the process of completing my first studio recorded album. And that in itself is one of the most vulnerable offerings I can present to my culture, to all cultures. And it's infused with my culture, which is that I have been influenced by. So that's
Mhm.
my answer. What I'm doing to push us forward. I'm pushing myself. I'm pushing
Great
myself into
answer. Great answer.
the best way I know
Great answer.
how.
Great answer. Okay.
Thank you.
Now my next question is, and this has surprised me, but a lot of people have difficulty answering this question. But I need for you to name me three famous Black people, but they can't be athletes or entertainers.
Okay. Three famous. Wow. Who do I choose? An ancestor that's coming to mind right now is Sojourner Truth.
Okay.
I have to give thanks for your expression and what you've contributed to us, Mother. Um, Maya Angelou,
Okay.
thank you, Mother. And who's gonna be lucky number three? See, you got me with the entertainer. There's so many musicians like me. Let's see.
Right.
Um, wow. I really got to give some ashe to Malcolm X.
Okay. So Sojourner Truth, love Sojourner.
Yes,
Maya
yes,
Angelou
yes,
and Brother Malcolm X, El Shabazz. So
yes.
great answer. So I must give you this disclaimer. When you come back to the show, which hopefully you
Okay.
will return, um, You can't use those three answers at the end of the show ever again.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
You can't.
They've been
You
they've
can't
been
use
written
that.
in time. All
Right.
right.
Right. And look, I write down the answer to all my guests. What they say. I write them down because this is like, for me. This is like, see, we need to know a little bit more about ourselves. Like
Absolutely.
we need to know a little bit more about ourselves, because I think all of us should have three famous non-athletic, non-entertainers that we have for inspiration.
You've been influenced by.
Right. I think we all should.
For sure.
We should all should have that. Like, that should be right. Like, bam, 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 bam. Like, if I would tell people, name me three famous entertainers. Oh, no problem.
Yeah, that's easy.
No problem. That's
It's
easy.
the vibes too. It's like it's in
Right.
our blood. It's the vibes. It's the vibes that
Right.
carry us through.
Right.
Sometimes, and a lot of them spaces that we had to go through, the music was the only place for the outlet. The entertainment was the only space. So, but I definitely understand the need to diversify your sources. There's some prolific authors. There's so many. I was going through like, hold up, which
Right.
one? Which
There's
one?
a lot. There's a lot. Like, there's a lot, right? And
abundance.
And abundance, right? And I also ask this question because I really want someone to say somebody that I don't know about.
That's real.
I may not know. I don't know all the famous Black people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know them,
right?
But I want to. I want to know as many as I possibly can, because those are my examples. Like, those are my examples. And when I say examples, those are my roadmaps to certain things, right? Like, if I wanted to be a doctor, like, as a Black American, Charles Drew should be my inspiration.
Not sure.
Right? If you know what I mean, like, so I'm it's a question that I ask, but I'm just hoping someone says a name, and if they do say a name that I don't know, they won't know I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
But afterwards, we're gonna do some research.
Right.
That's real.
They won't know. Right. They won't know that I won't know. But I talk so much, you'll know that I won't know. Because if you say somebody and I don't know them, I'm just like, oh, But anyway, but sister, thank you for agreeing to have this interview. I enjoyed myself, and I hope it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, because I saw the video. I don't hope nothing.
We already know.
Right, we already know. I saw the video, Dick Gregory. I saw it. I saw the video. Yeah,
he said what he said.
He said what he said, right? He said what he said, and so
we said what we said.
I don't hope anything. I know the people that watched it enjoyed it, right? Because it had nothing but positive energy. So, once the channel has matured, right? I want to bring you back for another session, and because especially when you drop your album, I would love to do like a little snippet listening party, so to speak, for your release. If you don't have anything planned, I would love to do that. So think about it and let me know. I would love to host it here.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Okay. This has been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Temakha, don't go off yet. I'm gonna do my outro, and I'm gonna come back in, and I'm gonna speak to you. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Everyone, Temakha. Oh, great interview. I told you it was going to be a great interview tonight. Very, 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 very and authentic sister. So I'm not going to hold y'all any longer. I hope once again, I know that you enjoyed the interview. Tomorrow I have another great interview with another young lady that's going to be great. I hope, tune in and, just watch what the BRI has to offer. We giving good content here. So everyone, have a good night and stay blessed. And remember, in order for you to receive a blessing, you must first be a blessing. Peace.